Carrying on, Perek Chafov, Kלים Perek Chafov, Mishnah base. The first line of the Mishnah is actually just a repetition of the din we learned in Mishnah Aleph, which is Kishel Shnotzoi Shenitru Shnotzov Tomei. We've got our leather pouch with straps threaded through holes at the top. You tighten the straps, it pulls it together like a drawstring and it closes it. And we said before, and this bit of the Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Yossi, that if you remove the straps, now it's useless. Therefore, you may have thought, like the Tanna Kamma would have said, it becomes tar because now it's a broken kli. But Rabbi Yossi told us that when you remove the straps, although the pouch is now useless, but because it's so easy to repair, that's not called broken. And as the Mishnah says, Tomei, the pouch, the leather pouch is still Tomei. Then the Mishnah says two words, Nifshat Toher. Here we need a little bit of an introduction. We are dealing with leather kelim. Leather kelim have basically the same rule as wooden kelim, which means they have to have a base kibble. However, there's an intrinsic difference between kli eitz, when we use the expression of base kibble with a kli eitz, and when we use base kibble with a kli oil, with a leather kli. With a kli eitz, you've got to have a kli which actually has a kibble. It's got to have a shape. It's got to have an indentation, a receptacle, a little basin in which you can put things. Number one. And number two, not only must it be ro'il kibble, it's got to be osul kibble. It's got to be made for that purpose. With oil, we're a little bit easier. Why? Because leather is soft. Even though we may have a kli poshut, it's flat. It's a kli. It's been formed. It has a purpose. But at the moment, it's poshut. Nevertheless, if it's soft oil, and if it's osul kibble, in other words, the intention is to bunch it up and make it into a kli, then it's, even though at the moment it's flat, it's called a ro'oil kibble. So you don't actually, you can have a flat piece of oil. It looks like a kli oil poshut, but because it's soft leather and it's made, it's osul kibble, it's ro'oil kibble, therefore even in the flat state, it's still called having a base kibble. And that was the case true with the kishel schnotzers when we take out the schnotzim. When you take out the straps, it basically opens up. Nevertheless, it's soft, it's easy to turn back into a kli kibble, therefore it's still called a kli kibble. What the Mishnah is telling us here, nifshat is completely flat. Completely and utterly pressed, ironed out, flat. Then it's tar. Not because it's called a kli poshut, because it's not called a kli at all, it's got no tsuras kli at all, and therefore it's got no kli at all, it's tar. We're going to be using this principle many times over the next few prokim. Then the Mishnah adds, once it's been nifshat, you then add a little a leather patch at the bottom, and this makes it stiffer. So now with this leather patch, you always have a tsuras kli. Therefore, even if it doesn't now have what looks like a base kibble, under the rule that an oil, a leather kli poshut, is deemed to have a base kibble because it's ro'il kipul, you can fold it up. So when you have a mateles and a maton, that changes it from being ois tzuras kli, no tzuras kli, now it's got a tzuras kli, and therefore it's makabel tuna. And the next din we've had before, we actually had in Perek Chafei, that famous Perek dealing with Tumas Acherayim B'toich, and this din mirrors the din which we learned there in Mishnah Dalet, the din of Roiva and Chatzi Roiva. It's quite simple. Kiss the Sech Kiss. You've got like a leather wallet. You've got a leather compartment, and you've got one pocket inside another pocket. Under the rules of Tumah D'Oraisa, of course, the whole thing is one kli. If a sheretz were to touch one part of the kli, the whole thing would become Tomei. But here we're talking about Tumas Mashkin. And we've learnt before that Tumas Mashkin are only able to be Mitame Kelim. Midrabanon, Rabbanon made a special leniency, a kula, to make sure that people understood this was a Drabanon. And they said, when Tumas Mashkin, you've got Kelim of equal importance, called the Roiva and the Chatirov as we learnt there. If one becomes Tomei, then only that one becomes Tomei. Lo nitma chavera, the other one remains Torah. We learned the same thing at the end of Perik Beis, long time ago, in the famous case of Kalmarin, Beis Tavlin Shel Cheres, and Kalmarin Hamtu Omois, Beis Tavlin Shalet Shenitma Echad B'Mamashke, Lo nitma chavera, which is the same thing we're dealing with here. And the last line of the Mishnah, there's a lot said on the last line of the Mishnah, but we're going to make it easy. Tzroyer hamargolis tomei. A little leather pouch used for storing a diamond or a pearl is tomei. Tzroyer hamois, however, one used for storing coins, Rabbi Eliezer Metame says it's the same as tzroyer hamargolis. But here, the Chachamim Metarim, they make a difference. Why? The simple way of learning this Mishnah is to say, which is the way the Rambam learns, that in the case of tzroyer hamois, because you don't have one coin going in and out, therefore the little indentations which the coins make, they're all different. The indentation that one coin makes doesn't end up to be the same indentation the other coin makes. Therefore this tzroyer never has a tzuras kli. Therefore the Chachamim say tzroyer. However, the tzroyer magolis, you put one pearl in it, you wrap it up, you tighten it, you open it, you take it out, you put it in, but the what's left, the leather pouch of the magolis, has always got a tzuras kli. If you learn, like you see in Baal Tanura, which is based on the Rash, which is the difference between the tzroyer magolis and tzroyer moaris is that the tzroyer magolis is a tighter, a harder form. The base kibble is longer lasting because you don't take out the diamond the whole time. Whereas the cash one, you're busy taking in and out. Therefore, they say the difference between magolis, tzroyer moaris, and tzroyer magolis, because it's so rarely taken out, it's a stronger form of base kibble. The tzroyer moaris, it's more loose, it's not as tight as the tzroyer magolis, because the point of the tzroyer moaris is you keep on using it for your cash, and therefore it hasn't got a base kibble. And it's on this Rabbi Kiva Eiger asks his kasha, which we just learned, as I told you before, earlier in the Mishnah, that with soft leather pouches, even if it's flat, but as long as it's a kli and it's ro'oi lekipul, it's ro'oi to be folded, then it's still mekabel tuma. And therefore, according to the way we just learned now, Kiva Eiger doesn't understand why there actually is a difference between tzroyer hamagolis and tzroyer hamois. They're both leather kelim, and they're able to be folded back into a kli kibble, and therefore under the rules that a kli or a poshut, which is ro'oi lekipul, is deemed to have a base kibble, they should have the same. Hence Rabbi Kiva Eiger's kasha is not answered. But according to the way the Rambam learned, the answer is very simple. One's got a tzuras kli and one hasn't got a tzuras kli. And Mishnah Gimel coming up next.